Hey everyone, welcome back to a reading journal update. This will be my update for January. Full disclosure, I am still getting over being sick, so I may talk a little slowly. I've been coughing a lot. I'll be sure to edit out all the coughs, all the sneezes. But if my voice sounds a little bit different, it's just because I've been getting over a pretty bad cold. But without much further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the updates. So first we have my bookshelf updates. So I read 6 books in the month of January. We have a fantasy sci-fi, which was Blood Like Magic. I had a lot of fun reading that. We also have a couple romantices here. So I have Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I read both of those in January. We also have a contemporary romance. I read Funny Story by Emily Henry. And I have a horror historical fantasy. You'll understand more when I talk about the book, but that's The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. And then I also read another Agatha Christie, which I classified as mystery. And it's not quite historical because it was written in the contemporary during the time, but it feels appropriate and the colors look right. So that's what I go with. Moving on, we have a couple updates over here. I have read some of the books that I picked out for the novice path. So I read my tempting book, which was Fourth Wing. I read my ghost and supernatural book, which was The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. And I also read the thriller and mystery I set aside, which was the first Hercule Poirot mystery by Agatha Christie. Thank you to a commenter who gave me tips on how to say Poirot. I'm still doing my best. I can't roll my R's, so it'll never be quite perfect, but I do appreciate you. Moving on, so if you follow the Magical Readathon, you will know that I had set aside this page to be my year of adventure in Aeldia, and because this is how the format for it has always looked. Well, the format is very different this year, but I already had this page set up, and I actually didn't do last year's, so I just ended up gluing in last year's reading challenge. I added some more decoration and kind of layers of the book paper here, which I really like how well the book paper matches. That has brought me a lot of joy. And I've just decided to go ahead and do this reading challenge. I wanted to do it last year, so in some ways I am living up to what I wanted to get done last year, so that's kind of fun. And I'm trying hard not to plan out this one, but just hopefully meet the requirements. So audiobook, I put Blood Like Magic because I did listen to the audiobook for that. And then mystery and thriller, I did The Mysterious Affair at Style. So just as I get any on here, I'm going to fill it in on the right. So, you know, it is what it is. And I actually am really happy with the new spread that I came up with. So that's exciting. We have some updates to not the reading goals, but my book bingo. I did decide to color in my free space. I think I'm going to do like a checkerboard with this kind of pale color over here, so it's not like all pink by the end of the year. But I did read a horror. I did read Bury Your Gaze, which I would definitely classify as a horror as well. But The Spirit Bears Its Teeth was also horror genre as well. Book with Dragons, Fourth Wing. I honestly completely forgot that I've been wanting to read Fourth Wing when I put Book with Dragons. So that I was just apparently very influenced subconsciously when putting together my book bingo. And I did find a new 5-star read this month, which we will get to. As far as my books read update over here, it's just mainly you can see some of the star ratings, but I did fill in all the books I read, the authors. I read a majority of my books on audio this past month. We were traveling. I did do some immersive reads for The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. I had the physical book of that. And then I also, I borrowed the ebook for Fourth Wing. So I also would read that at times while listening to the audiobook as well. Series tracker only updates as I've been able to fill in my Empyrean one that I have here. I did a small little update to my Lightfall reading spread. There was one day where you had to color the Aurora Boreas in, so I colored him in and stuck him. And I also got these really fun pet or PE tapes from Cora Creates or Crafts or something like that. I'll be sure to put it up on the screen. But I love these like snowflakes. I think they're gorgeous. And they definitely have fit a lot of the winter themes so far. So I added some of those into those spreads. Skipping ahead, small update I did share on the community page, but I ended up adding this washi tape to this cover page for early winter, and I love the way that it came out. So I'm very happy that I added that. And now it's time for the January update. So here we go. So this is my cover page spread for January. I did actually put together a TBR. I was feeling a little overwhelmed at all the things I said I was going to read for various challenges or other things, and I wanted to have like a visual representation of it. So I am really happy with how this looks. I did not get to all of these books. I think I only read like 3 of these, but I blame that on me reading Iron Flame immediately after Fourth Wing rather than spreading it out. So it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal that I didn't get to everything, but I feel a little behind. But of course we have washi tape here from, we have some from Simply Gilded on the outside, this plaid one. I also have this sparkle washi tape, which I'm pretty sure is from Archer and Olive, one of their sets. And I of course have stickers from Marigona Sully Art, some stamps that didn't quite show up super well, but that's from the Notebook Therapy Light Academia set. And then this lace down here on the bottom is from the Dried Flowers washi tape set from Notebook Therapy. So those are the different elements on the page. I love these winter stickers from Marigona Sully Art. I think they're just absolutely gorgeous. And then here is the wrap up. I'm just using more stickers from Marigona Sully Art in here. And then I have my calendar on the left so you can see when I read all of my books. I actually started Blood Like Magic before January even began, kind of towards the end. I thought I might finish it at the very start of the month, but I was actually exhausted when we got back from our winter travels. So I did not finish it like within the first few days of the month, which is totally fine. After I finished that, I read Fourth Wing. As soon as I finished Fourth Wing, I started Iron Flame. If you know, you know. And then in the middle, I did pick up Funny Story, and it was a breath of fresh air. I'm so glad I picked up that book, and it was my first Emily Henry, and I read it really fast. I swear to God, I zoomed through that. Then at the very end, since I've been sick this past week, it was kind of hard for me to get through a lot of books here. But when I was feeling a little bit better in the middle of the week, I was able to read Mysterious Affair at Styles and The Spirit Bears Teeth, and those were both pretty quick reads for me. So next I have my monthly stats, and I'm really happy with how these stickers came out for it. I made the charts in Canva. Last month I drew these out with the same colors over here because I wanted everything to match, but I didn't like how, I don't know, messy the coloring in looked. So what I decided to do this year was I tried to color match the stickers so it all kind of went together. And then I printed these out on the sticker paper that I use for like all my headers or other books and stuff like that. I'm really happy with how these charts came out. I made them in Canva. That's pretty much where I size like all of my book covers and any stickers that I'm printing out. I have everything in millimeters because this is a 5mm dot grid. So it's really easy for me to space and measure everything. And Canva does have the ability to make little pie charts. So it's pretty easy to color them. And then I just like to do the labels in the book itself or in my journal because I think that looks, you know, cute and hand drawn, but I love the way these feel. I also just love my sticker paper. It's great. I got it from Online Labels and I love it. So, but anyways, we can get into the stats now that we've talked about how I made it. So I read a lot of fantasy romance because of Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I read a romantic contemporary, which of course was Funny Story. I also had a mystery with Agatha Christie, had some horror for The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. Yeah, and it's been a eclectic reading month, but really, really good. I actually don't know if I included Blood Like Magic in this, for this one. That's going to bother me, but it's okay. because I don't see sci-fi here, and that one definitely has a lot of sci-fi, but that's all right. So then the next pie chart that I'm very proud of is most of the things that I read this month were already previously owned by me or I bought them. There's actually more included, like I buy a lot of audio and physical or ebook, so I tend to include, like, if I borrowed the audio, I count that as a borrow. If I bought the ebook for the same book, I'll count that as a bought. So there's usually just more numbers here than there are books that I read, but I owned quite a few. I owned like the physical copy of The Spirit Bares Its Teeth, but I bought the audiobook with it using an Audible credit. I also bought Iron Flame. I had already previously owned the Audible for that, but I also borrowed a lot from the library, so I'm very happy with that. Or listened on Spotify for Agatha Christie. My favorite book of the month was The Spirit Bares Its Teeth. I read 2,579 pages, which is up from last month despite reading one less book. So that's mainly because of Iron Flame, I swear to God. And my average star rating was 3.67. It was a hit or miss month for me. You're gonna see why it's a little bit lower, but I actually enjoyed a lot of what I read this month. So now let's talk about reviews. And for one of them, we actually have to go back because I did have one of my reviews already kind of mapped out in my more December review spread era. So the first book that I finished this month was Blood Like Magic. I really liked this book a lot. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a really great book. It mixed so many interesting elements together into one kind of package. It's a fantasy. It is set in the near future, maybe like 2050-ish. It has some sci-fi elements to it as well. I would say like light sci-fi, kind of like augmentations on things that are already currently happening, which was really interesting to weave into the story. I really, really loved this book. I thought it had really great representation, really interesting commentary on society and how communities can be consistently held back for decades, for centuries, and what it takes to overcome that, and your family bloodline. I love like bloodline magic. I think it's so interesting. And I thought that this was a really great read. In some ways, it was very interesting when the quotes on the main cover that was, praising the book was by the author of Legendborn, and I love Legendborn. And these are very, very different books, but it made a lot of sense to me that the author who wrote Legendborn would also speak about this book really highly, because there are some similar elements about the ancestral passing down of magic and Black families and the complexity of what it means to be like a Black teenage girl, whether it be in present day or the near future. And I just really appreciated this book. I thought it was great. I thought there was a lot going on, but it had so much heart and had so much to say that I really did love it. I could see myself like rereading this and giving it like a 4.5. There are just choices that the main character makes at the end that they're really interesting and they're really bold choices for a character to make, which makes me respect them. But girl, I had questions. But I overall really liked it, and I do really recommend it. I thought it was a great read. If you liked Legendborn, I do think you would like this book. So anyways, I loved this. This was great. Had a lot of really, really great representation in it as well that didn't feel forced. It just felt really natural. But anyway, so that was the first review spread. I wanted to make sure we touch upon that before we went any further. I also have a couple of spreads for the Buzzwordathon, which is a challenge that Books and Lala hosts every year now. I don't know how many years it's been going on, but a while. Used to be words, so kind of words in titles, and you'll read them throughout the year. But she's also expanded it to a cover challenge, which I love. So I put up this spread to track that. I'm just gonna put the book covers in when I read them. So I had a couple that were met, so funny. So The Spirit Bares Its Teeth has a bunch of eyes on the cover, tons of eyes. So I counted that for this one, and eyes are also a really central kind of theme in this book too. So I was really happy to get to use that. And then funny story, there's a book on her lap. So I've already completed 2 of the covers, but none of the other stuff over here. This washi tape is from Cora Crea Crafts. I think that's right. I'm gonna have to look it up after. I'm gonna say uncertainly for a while. We also have some stickers from the Dark Academia sets from Marigona Sully Art. And then I also have these kind of cutouts from this kind of like clear tape from I think the Whimsical Botanical set from the Whimsical Botanic set from Notebook Therapy. So I really like how this spread came out, and I like how the greens and the tans kind of flow together. Next, we have my spreads for the first 3 books in the Empyrean series, so Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and I'm still reading Onyx Storm, but it will eventually go here. So the different elements that we have on this page, we have some really cool cutout washi tape of like these castles from Cora Crea Crafts. I'm so nervous about that. We also have just some nap kind of scrapbook paper that I got from Michaels. Some book paper as well that I just ripped out of an old book. I also have some of the sun kind of clear tape from the Sunlit Mystery Notebook Therapy washi set. And that's also the same washi tape that I have ripped along this edge here and along this edge as well. I also have some of the kind of baking and dragon stickers from Marigona Sully Art. I just really love this, and they're of course dragons in Fourth Wing, so it felt, you know, appropriate. And the rest of the decorations here I just printed out on clear sticker paper. These are just some silhouetted dragons I found in Canva. I made this logo in Canva. It's very hacked together, but I tried finding a logo for Basgiath that like didn't, I don't know, that looked like something I liked, but I couldn't really find anything on the internet that quite fit it as well and was like kind of like all black and a little bit more bold rather than like kind of dainty. So I just made my own. I threw it together while I was watching a movie, and it took me a very long time because I don't normally design with Canva. I normally design in like other programs, and I don't know why I didn't swap at a certain point, but it's fine. I also used a stamp for these Roman numerals from Cora Crea Crafts, and I really like it even if I messed up that one there. It's fine. But overall, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, they, in some ways, I totally understand why a lot of people really like these. I will probably continue to read them because I want to know what's happening in them. So that is a testament to the book in and of itself, but I did give both of them 2.5 stars. I actually thought with Iron Flame, it was going to get a higher rating, especially at the midway point. I love the midway point of Iron Flame. I'm not going to spoil anything. Obviously, don't read anything on the page. But I love the way that the midway point of Iron Flame ends, and I really wish that the book would have ended there because I felt it was really strong. It's probably one of the best sequences in the books overall so far that I've read, and I felt like it ended on such like a decisive note, still kind of a cliffhanger of like where are we gonna go from here, and then the second half of the book just felt really like muddled. And a little wandering in a way that confused me. Not like I was confused as to what was happening, but I just felt like the scenes didn't really like flow from one to the next, and I wish that more world building time would have been spent on them. I feel like that's my overall review of Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. There's a lot that I like in these books, but the biggest downside to me is the writing overall. In Fourth Wing, I really struggled to get on board with the tone of the writing, and the way that Violet spoke in her head really bothered me. It was just, honestly, it was a little childish. Like I felt like I was reading a YA, and I read a lot of YA, so that's not a massive dig against it, but it felt like even an immature YA voice for a new adult book. It is really readable, and I did find myself binging it, but there were just some awkward and cringy things that go in Violet's head that I was just like, man, I feel like I'm reading the inner monologue of like a 13-year-old girl rather than like a 20-year-old, you know? I felt like that did get better in Iron Flame, which is why I was feeling more that I could get engrossed in the story. But the second half of the book, and even like the first third and the last third of the book, I just felt were kind of slow and meandering, but the middle was so good. Middle was so good. I do like a lot of the plot points in it, like where it's going. I have been surprised at certain points. So I can't say I haven't been entertained. I've been definitely entertained. I've enjoyed talking about this with my friends. So I'm glad I'm reading them. That's kind of my review. I could go on for a very long time, and I have. My poor boyfriend has listened to me talk about this incessantly. So, and my frustrations about it. But at any rate, hit or miss is the best way I can phrase it. Okay, next we have a spread that I'm really proud of. This is the Adventures in Aeldia spread. So as you can see, this is horizontal, which is why I could not really use it use my original spread at the start of the book. I could have just turned it sideways, but I don't know. It looked so cool that I wanted to give it its own kind of moment to shine. So yeah, so I made this spread and I am ecstatic with how it came out. So I printed out the map. Here, I used some washi tape from the Midsummer Night's Dream set from Notebook Therapy, more of like the book paper, a couple of the kind of like stickers from Maragona Sully, just random ones, and then I made like a little book in the middle. This is my first time doing it. I haven't decorated like all the pages. I still need to like cut out a portion over here, but my tentative plan is to have 3 months on each page, and it will say the prompt, it will say what I need to read for it, and I'm just going to decorate it that way. I used a font that I had used on previous Aeldia spreads, so I'm really happy with this, and I'm really excited because I get to read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Therapy, so it was on my northeast side of my bookshelf, so that was exciting that was the path I chose. I'm going to be going like around this way because it's pretty and pink, and since I'm going through and doing a lot of like sun related things, I thought it would be fun to bring in more of the sunlit mystery washi tape on this page. And then I think no massive spoilers for the story, because there's like a whole story that goes along with like which direction you choose and your different kind of winding paths. It's really cool. G did such a great job this year. I think it's awesome. And this map looks amazing, but this one I think goes through the evening time. So I think it'd be really fun to have this be kind of the sun, and then I'm going to use some of my lunar set from Notebook Therapy to do like moons and kind of nighttime things on this one. I think it'll look really cool to have some like blacks and golds to kind of tie in this one. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. The whole reason I read Funny Story was because I needed to read a book released in 2024. I had read like 3 books that were released in 2023, but nothing in 2024. So I was able to get Funny Story audiobook from the library, and I ended up loving it. So I'm very happy with that. But yeah, this is my Adventure in Aeldia spread, and I'm really happy with it. So next up, we have a Funny Story review spread. Spoiler alert, I really liked it. This is my first Emily Henry, so I don't know if it's like your first one will always be the best or something, but yeah, I really liked it. So I wrote a little bit longer of a review, or gave it like more space. I have this gorgeous wildflower washi tape from Simply Gilded. I do kind of have to hold this down or it's not going to stay. I used other washi tape from the dried flower set from Notebook Therapy along here. I also got in some gorgeous stickers from the new Hinoki line from Notebook Therapy, which is like their window set. So I used the window here. I used one of the stickers, or a couple of stickers from the sticker roll as well. And I love the way these feel. They feel so cool. Like you can almost feel like the brush strokes of them. I love it. And I also have these gorgeous like butterflies from Cora Kriya Crafts. And this frame as well came from there as well. And then on the right hand side, I thought it would be fun to have a backlist page. So I kind of found on Etsy these, like, somebody did the these like little library cards, and I just bought them, and I did a couple of edits to just like the colors of them and stuff, and then printed them out. So I have these in like this little pocket, and I just used craft paper to make this little pocket and stuck this like little doily on it, and kind of called it, and I just wrote out the books by Emily Henry that I want to read. So when I read them, I'll add the date to it like I did for the first, and until then, I will just kind of keep using it. I think that this spread and this spread back to back have like single-handedly killed the writing of my journal in this section. So, you know, it's okay. We make sacrifices. But overall, I really did love Funny Story. It made me cry. I loved the characters. I felt like the romance was really good. I felt like they became really good friends while also falling for each other, which I found really endearing. I loved both the characters. I loved their family drama. I loved the fake dating. I don't know. It had pretty much everything I like. It was really good. But yeah, I really liked Funny Story. It was great. It was great. Okay, and last but not least, we have my final two spreads for the final books that I read this month. So we have The Mysterious Affair at The Mysterious Affair at Styles, which I gave 3.5 stars. I overall thought it was pretty good. It wasn't my favorite mystery that I've read from Agatha Christie. It's the first Hercule Poirot, so I'm definitely, you know, glad I'm reading it, glad I'm reading through all of them. I thought the mystery was pretty good. There were just like a lot of clues. I don't know if I would have picked up on this criticism if I wouldn't have read it somewhere else after I finished, but I did totally agree with, there were so many clues that was hard to focus on them, if that makes sense. I think that one thing I really did like about Hercule Poirot's Christmas is that I felt like there weren't a lot of clues, and I felt like they were also introduced at a really good pace. So you could kind of simmer on one of them before another one is introduced. So you can think and think and think about like, well, what could that mean? Could it be this? Could it be that? Could this person have done that? Well, no, I knew that they were down here, but there was almost like so many things that you're being thrown at that it's hard to like simmer on the mystery of it all. So that was my main critique of it. I will say it was also very interesting because it was written in first person from another man's perspective, and he was very unlikable, but I really enjoyed it. And it was very funny to watch him watch Poirot, and how Poirot would like basically call him dumb to his face, but he wouldn't know. So that was probably my favorite part about the book. And I don't think that continues because Hercule Poirot's Christmas was not in first person, it was in third person writer voice. So I'm interested to see when that shifts or if it was only for the first one. Yeah, I just found that very interesting. And then finally, last but not least, my new 5-star read is The Spirit Bares Its Teeth. I loved this book. I thought it was beautiful. It was scary. I cried. It was really hard to read. It was really difficult to read. It was a really beautiful book. I may cry talking about it. Anyways, I loved this. It's set in Victorian times. It's got ghosts. It is scary. It's not like scary, like bone-chilling scary, but it is just difficult it's horror in like the true sense, if that makes sense. Like there's body horror, there's a lot to deal with emotionally. But you follow the main character, Silas, and he is desperate to not be married off into an arranged marriage. He is a trans teen boy, so this is YA, although I will say it is very dark for YA. I would say that the subject matter is closer to adult, but it is YA because Silas is a teen. And it does have some YA isms to it, but yeah, I would say it's a pretty mature book, all in all. But Silas is not seen as like a boy to his family, except for his brother at the start of the book. And he does not want to be married off to become a wife. That is like the last thing that he wants, but ultimately trying to get inducted into kind of their secret medium paranormal society to just try and get out of the arranged marriage, get away, become like his own person. He gets caught, and this happens like immediately. It's like in the flapjack of the cover, but it's like literally like the blurb. But then he gets carted off to a sanatorium for girls, and this sanatorium is for girls with veil sickness, violet-eyed girls who are deemed sick by society, and it's really, really good. It talks about the medical horrors that are committed on marginalized groups of people, but ultimately it's a really beautiful book. Oh God, I'm gonna cry again. It was really great. I don't want to spoil too much, but that's the basic premise. If you like reading physical copies, I will say the physical copy of this book is like stunning. I actually picked up this book because it was recommended by just someone at a small bookstore in town, and I was like, oh man, I love that cover. It sounds cool, sounds interesting. Trans main character, awesome, I'll read that. And it just like really blew me away. But the physical of this book is really gorgeous. It has like intermingled like these black pages where the ghosts are talking, and it's really good. It's really, really good. So I highly recommend it. I will say, as just a content warning, there are a lot of content warnings, so I recommend reading the letter from the author and also looking at the content warnings on Storygraph before reading this. And the author puts it beautifully. He lays out a bunch of the content warnings for it, and but yeah, I love the way that this book is written. The main character, Silas, really wants to become a surgeon, so a lot of the inner monologue is surgical, kind of like, a lot of it is very surgery focused. I don't know how else to phrase it, but there's a lot of like, it's the way that he views the world, right? So that's the way that the book is written. I also love there is the personification of like your inner critic and your anxiety and your fears is personified in this rabbit, and I loved that. That was really beautifully written too. Overall, just like gorgeous. I love this book. I could probably talk about this book for a very long time, and it's really great. There's so many beautiful quotes that I could pull from it. I love it. It's a 5-star. There's like a couple things that I didn't like 1,000,000,000,000,000% love, but it's still a 5-star read. You know when you just feel it. You know when you just feel 5-star. At least that's how it is for me. I'm like, you're a 4.5 until I feel like you're a 5. But anyways, that's the updates, and let's just do a flip through of all the new pages. So we can just go ahead and do the flip through. Thank you so much for watching my January update. I really appreciate you for sticking with me through my sick voice and my sniffles. But I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you're still watching, let me know what one of your favorite books that you read this last month was. So thanks so much, and see you next time. Bye.